welcome to the second episode of Jocelyn Hart's Boy Bands podcast. I finally came up with a title Wednesday morning as I was trying to figure out how to upload the first episode online. As of right now, it's on my YouTube channel. I am still trying to figure out how I can upload it on iTunes. So I'm currently distracted because Backstreet Boys' new single, Don't Go Breaking My Heart, was just released worldwide. So it's available on iTunes, Spotify, and the music video is on YouTube. So it's all that I've been listening to and watching the past few hours right now. And I really enjoy the song. The chorus is very catchy, and it's a song that I can picture myself listening to and jamming out to in my car. So I can't wait to download it and then bump it in my car eventually. So in my first podcast episode, I went through the Nick Carter's Sail Away party and then day one of the Backstreet Boys cruise, just to cover a few things that I didn't mention. I left off when the first deck party happened. I did forget to mention during the game Double Trouble, one of the games was Backstreet dressing up as sumo wrestlers, and I thought that was so funny. At first it was, I believe, AJ and Nick, and they had to put on these big sumo suits, and whoever got the other over the line would win the points. So before they even started the game, they did some choreography in the suits, which was so hilarious. AJ and Nick did the larger than life choreography, and then I think Howie and Kevin were next to put on the suits. Kevin, he tried to do the As Long As You Love Me chair dance routine. I mean, he wasn't able to sit, but he did what he could and then carried the chair away. And then I had mentioned during the Sail Away party that one of the online blogs had suggested cruisers make a heart with the number 25 on it. I did not emphasize why the number 25 was chosen. So on April 20th, 2018, it was the 25th anniversary of Backstreet Boys being together. So this cruise was an homage to them being together 25 years. And that is why on our hearts we put the 25 years. I am amazed that 25 years later they are still together, and I am so happy and so glad that they are still together and that they are still making new music and performing for the fans. And that's why I'm so excited that the new single had come out, and I'm looking forward to the album coming out hopefully soon. So day 2 of the cruise, May 4th, Friday. So since I was in Group B, the first event for Group B was the photo session. What I love about Backstreet Boys' cruise is the amount of fans they allow in the meet and greet picture is a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 5. During the first and second cruise, we had to have 10 people plus 5 Backstreet Boys. Or actually 4 Backstreet Boys, because technically Kevin was not back in the group yet. It used to be 14 people had to squeeze into a picture. And it was very difficult to find people for the picture because there would be people who wanted to stand by Nick or they want to stand by AJ. And it was difficult to find 10 people and for 2 to take a side of a boy. Like for the first cruise, I did not stand next to Nick. I ended up hovering behind Brian. And then for the second cruise, I did get to stand next to Nick, but in front of me was another fan who was standing next to Brian. So essentially, most of my body was covered in the picture, and you could only see my head next to Nick. It wasn't until when Kevin came back and on the 2013 cruise, I'll never forget, me and my friends were in line to take a picture when we got word that the amount of fans in the picture had changed from 10 to 4 to 5. So ever since that cruise, it's been either 4 or 5 fans. So for the 2018 cruise, for the picture, it was me, my friend Jen, and my friend Olga, and me. So we needed at least one more person to join our group. So Jen, she loves AJ, so we had that taken care of. And then my friend Olga, she loves Brian, and I love Nick. So that left Howie and Kevin. Thankfully, before it was our turn to take the picture, we were able to find a fan who loves Howie. She is from Japan, so she joined our picture and got to stand next to her favorite. It was a very long wait for the picture, but when it was our turn, so the order was Howie was first, AJ was second, Nick was third, Kevin was fourth, and Brian was fifth. We enter the meet and greet in order of how they appear so that everyone gets a chance to hug and interact with each boy. Because Olga wanted a Kentucky cousin sandwich with Kevin and Brian, she goes first. I go second since Nick is after, and then Jen, and then the Japanese fan. When it was our turn, Olga goes first, and then I follow her. So I hug Howie, and then for some reason, it comes into my head to remind him to follow me on Twitter. Back in February, he had a solo event in Las Vegas, and I had asked him then to follow me on Twitter, and he said that he would. And he said if he didn't do it, to tell him next time I see him. And this was technically the next time I saw him. And he still has yet to follow me on Twitter. Howie, if you're out there, you still need to follow Berry Delicious on Twitter. And then after I hug and talk to Howie, AJ was next. And AJ tells me, "Hello, gorgeous." And that is, I believe that's the second or third time he has called me gorgeous. And that just fluffs my ego that he thinks me, Jocelyn, that I am gorgeous. And so I give him a hug. And then next is Nick. And so I give Nick a hug, and because Backstreet Boys, they are dressed in their pirate outfits that they had worn during the sail away party. It's been a tradition since the 2013 cruise that whatever outfits they wear during the sail away party, they would wear it during the meet and greet. When I approached Nick, he goes, "Arr," like a pirate. And I remembered a joke that my manager had told me and my coworkers about 2 weeks ago. And so I decided to tell Nick that joke. I wasn't even sure if he knew of the joke already or if somebody had already told him the joke, but I decided to go for it. I tell him, "Oh, that reminds me. What's a pirate's favorite letter?" And he gives me this look like, "I just told you "arr." And so he was like, "arr." And I'm like, "No, it's the C." And he chuckles and says, "Oh, that's a good one." And so Mike, the bodyguard, then sends a signal to all of us to turn and face the camera. I get into position. I put my arms around Nick. I was hoping that he would return the favor and wrap his arms around me, but he wasn't. So I was like, fine, he isn't in the mood to cuddle today. So before the picture is taken, he says to me, "You know what you should do?" And I ask him what. And then he said, "You should write a novel about pirates." And as he says about pirates, he swings his left arm around me and he's holding a sword. So now the sword is touching my neck. And the sudden action makes me laugh because I wasn't expecting him to be swinging his arm that's holding a sword in front of me. And then he cuddles me very tightly against his body, and I smile like always to the camera. Shout out to Justin Segura for taking a very nice photo of me and my friends. After the picture is done, I tell Nick, "Okay, I will add that to the long list of things I have to write." I love that whenever he sees me, he gives me ideas on what to write. For those of you who aren't aware, I write romance novels. I also write erotica. And starting in 2016, I got brave enough to give Nick and Backstreet Boys copies of my books. And so I remember earlier this year, AJ told me during a meet and greet in Vegas, he said, "I'm waiting for your next novel." And I was so surprised. I wasn't even expecting him to say that. And so now I am really driven to complete my next novel and hoping that I can finish it this year. After the picture is taken and after Nick tells me that I should write a novel about Backstreet Boys as pirates, next to him is Kevin. And I usually don't like long hair on men, but on Kevin, I think the long hair suits him very well. I think he even resembles Fabio, the very famous romance novel cover model back in the 80s and 90s. So I tell Kevin, "Oh, Kevin, you look so good." And he was so flattered. I told him, "You look like a romance novel heartthrob." I saw online that this was a general consensus that Kevin looks just like he could be on the cover of a romance novel. I was thinking, he could be on the cover of mine. That would be awesome. And he was very flattered and said, "Oh, thank you." And then after that, I hug Brian and he asks me how I am and I tell him that I'm good. And then the meet and greet is over. What I enjoyed about that meet and greet during the photo session was it did not feel rushed at all. I am used to meet and greets where you get in, take the picture, get out. But I felt the meet and greet on the cruise was not rushed and that the boys had a good energy. Even though they've had to already take in so many pictures, I love that they still keep the energy up for the fans. After the photo session, my friends and I, we go to the Lido deck to have lunch. After lunch, we decide since there is time between then and the next event to go merch shopping. I go into the merch stand and take a gander at what is available. They had 2 different designs of shirts. I chose to buy the gray shirt that had a cruise ship logo on it. And then they had a white t-shirt with the official 2018 cruise logo with the palm tree and parrot. They also had a lanyard with the cruise logo and also a plastic pouch that you could put your phone in to protect it from getting wet. It doesn't fit my iPhone 7 Plus though. Like it can get into the pouch, but it doesn't close. It's all right. I don't plan to use that part of the pouch anyway. They also had a passport holder with the current BSB logo. They had a long sleeve t-shirt with a boat neck cut, 2 styles of tank tops, and a hoodie. I was torn on buying the hoodie. The hoodie was white. I was hoping it would not be white because on the 2016 cruise, it was white, and to this day, I have not worn it. But I collect the cruise hoodie, so I gave in, even if I might not wear it a lot because I don't want it to get dirty or turn yellow. I bought it anyway, just to have it for my collection. And since I've been on all 6 cruises. And I also bought the passport holder. I've been wanting a passport holder for years now, but I have not gotten one because I haven't found one that I liked. And I ended up getting 2 passport holders, one just for safekeeping and the other that I plan to put my passport in. And it's something that I might try to get all 5 Backstreet Boys to sign because it's a pretty cool passport holder. And they also had a pop socket. I already have a pop socket on my phone, but I put it at an odd position where it's not totally centered on my phone and it's kind of been irking me. So as a backup, I bought an extra pop socket in the rare case I decide to take off the current pop socket I have and reposition it so that it is more centered. So after buying the merch, I remember I went to the casino and I bought some scratchers. I like to gamble on scratchers sometimes, so I bought a few and with the intention of scratching them later on that night. I go back to my cabin, put my stuff away, and then get ready to go to the next event, which is the AJ Goes Country and sneak peek with Kevy Kev in the lounge. The itinerary says no cell phones or bags will be permitted under any circumstance and that we would be subject to search and that there would be a metal detector present, making sure that no one sneaks in a phone or a recording device. So I'm used to carrying a bag. It felt weird for me to be walking around without my phone. Without my bag. All I had with me was my sign and sale card that I had put on the Backstreet Boys lanyard that I used on my high school outfit that I removed and in turn used it as a lanyard for my sign and sale card. So me and my friends, we go to the lounge and I noticed they were turning away fans that were carrying bags. Even if they were carrying a very tiny purse that could fit nothing, they were still sent away and could not enter the lounge until they got rid of their bag. And before we entered the lounge, security had a wand and they waved it on us and we could not get in until we had been searched. So AJ was the first one to go in the event. He played technically 4.5 songs off his solo record that he says is in the country genre. So the first song that he played for us was Bottle Service, and then he played a song called Boots On, and he joked that his daughter Ava knows the words and would sing it, and he thinks that it's weird that she knows the words when it's a song about having sex with only boots on. And then he played a song titled Rare, which he said was inspired by his wife. And then he played half a song. I don't remember the song title. Maybe somebody can remind me of what it is. And then the last song that he played was titled Batshit Crazy, which I thought was so funny. So the songs that he played, for me, they weren't very country, if that makes any sense. I think his sound sounds more like pop with a country influence. His songs that he played weren't what you call traditional country. I think they're very pop and that the subject matter is in the vein of country, like bottle service and wearing boots. So after AJ plays his songs, we then wait for Kevin. Apparently Kevin was late and it became a running joke on the cruise that he is often the late one. And I feel this cruise that I have a lot in common with Kevin. Like I'm late too often. I run on backstreet time. But when Kevin finally arrives, he takes a seat on the stairs that are on center stage and he pulls out his phone. So what I expected with his sneak peek was I had this image of him sitting at a piano and playing bits and pieces of songs that could or would be on the upcoming album. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that he would actually be playing the actual tracks off his phone. It wasn't until I heard the first track that he played that I had wished I brought a pen and paper so that I could take notes. So I did my best to memorize as much as I could. If he had played maybe 5 songs, I probably could have remembered everything or a majority of what he played, kind of like how I remembered what AJ had played, but he played nearly an entire album. I don't have an exact count of how many songs he played, but it felt like he played at least 10. So he played almost a complete album. He did not play the single though, and he explained that the single would be released May 17th and that he and Backstreet Boys did not want to violate any terms and agreements they have with radio stations and it potentially leaking and ruining whatever momentum they have on the release of their single, which I understand. So, the first song that Kevin played is titled Do You Remember? And that was one of the favorite songs of mine that he played. I could probably sing it off key. I hope I don't get in trouble for doing this. If I do, oh, oops. But I remember the chorus was mainly Nick, and it went something like, Do you remember how it used to be? Because I don't, I don't want you to forget. I apologize for my off key singing. Maybe that will save me from getting in trouble. The vibe of the sound, it's like a song that you can listen to while driving on the freeway with no traffic on a road trip. And Kevin echoed the thoughts that I had while listening to the song. He mentioned after he played the song, like he said it was a song that you can get in your car and listen to it while you're driving. And the next song that he played was titled Just Like You Like It. I don't remember the words or the melody, but I just remember how it made me feel. And I thought it was a great song, that it was upbeat. And so I'm looking at the notes on my phone that I quickly typed before I would lose memory of what I had just listened to. I don't know the titles of some of the songs, but I did try to remember certain lyrics or lines that caught the attention of my ears. So there was one song where I don't even know who was singing, but the lyrics are, You drive me crazy, insane, but I like it. There was also a song he played that sounded like a doo-wop song. The vibe I got from this song was it sounded like their song If I Don't Have You, which was a track on the Backstreet's Back album that was released in Europe. I think I read on Facebook somewhere that the title of that track was Crazy. I can't confirm if that is true or not. Another favorite song that Kevin played was titled Passionate. So when Kevin played this song, he did not mention the song title. So, just to jump forward a bit, at the Comic-Con deck party, I had asked Kevin, what was the title of that song you played that you said Andy Grammer had wrote? And he said Passionate. And it's a great song. It's very upbeat. They did briefly sing it during Group B's concert when Kevin was trying to explain the 3 words inside joke, which I will get to. So the song Passionate was written by Andy Grammer, and Kevin explained that when Nick was on Dancing with the Stars, that he became good friends with Andy, and that Andy had sent Nick a song saying that he thinks this song would be good for Backstreet Boys. And so Backstreet recorded it, and Kevin said that the producers for Bruno Mars, called Stereotypes, they would add horns to it because the song was still not completely finished. Another song that Kevin played, he explained that Keith Urban really wanted this song, but that they were able to get it and own it for themselves. I think the title of the song is How Do You? The first 2 words of the song is 3 words. And so what Kevin wanted to do was play the version where Brian is singing 3 words. But the version that he kept finding on his phone was the AJ version where AJ is going 3 words. And so I think after hearing 3 words five times, we all start laughing. At that point, we just wanted him to play the song, but at the same time, we were enjoying him hearing 3 words, and so that became an inside joke for the Group B cruisers. Some other song titles that I remember hearing are Picture with You, Say Yes, and Better with You. I remember some of the lyrics for Better with You. Pardon me, as again, I will sing it off key and hopefully disguise it so much that I won't get in trouble. But I don't even know which Backstreet Boy sings this line, but I remember hearing, I woke up in Paris, been down to Rome, woke up with the sun in Mexico, but, and then I don't remember the rest, but basically the song is how the man had done all these things, but it doesn't matter because all those things are better with that person's, thus the title being Better with You. And I also remember Kevin played a song titled Lion in the Bed. He had actually, I don't know if it was him, but I remember seeing in one of either his Instagram stories or Backstreet Boys' Instagram stories, they were recording that song, and so he played that song for us. And I like that song too. It's very catchy. So I was just very happy to be one of the first people to hear those songs. I mean, I wish we could have brought our phones and cameras in to record it, but at the same time, it was a great experience to listen to those tracks and hear the work that they have been doing. And after hearing all those songs, I was just more excited for the album, and I really hope it comes out soon. So after that, we have some downtime, and then we go to dinner, and then get ready for the second deck party. And the theme is We've Got It Going Con, which is a play on their song We've Got It Going On. So ever since Backstreet, or actually ever since Nick, AJ, and Howie were in the movie Dead 7, they've been making appearances at Comic-Con. So I am convinced that this Comic-Con party was Nick's idea, since he loves comic books and he loves going to the Comic-Cons. And I enjoy going to and meeting him and talking to him there. So for my costume, I decided to be Sailor Jupiter from the Sailor Moon anime series. Sailor Moon was my favorite cartoon. It's still my favorite cartoon. Every now and then I will watch episodes online. It's a great story. I love all the characters. And I thought that being Sailor Jupiter would suit me better than being Sailor Moon. What I love about Sailor Jupiter is that she always wears her hair in a ponytail. And that is something that I always do too, because I feel so much more comfortable having my hair up and knowing where my hair is at all times. So I was able to find Sailor Jupiter's dress at hottopic.com. And then I found her tiara on Amazon. And I just wore my own black boots because I did not want to invest in green colored or white colored boots. I mean, nobody sees the shoes anyway when we're standing out there on the deck parties. And I also wanted to be comfortable because I know that during the deck parties, I would be standing for hours and I wanted to be as comfortable as possible. So for the Comic Con party, me and my friends, we were not late this time. We made sure to get on the deck before the boys did. And so I was very curious to see what the boys would dress up as. And so when they get on stage, I expected them to be matching because I remember for one of the past cruises, they were the cast of Wizard of Oz. On the 2016 cruise, they were Star Wars. So I thought that they would be matching in some sort of comic book Marvels type thing, but they ended up being different characters. So for Comic Con night, the boys were not matching. Howie was Zorro, AJ was Deadpool, Nick was Thor, Brian was the Joker, the Jared Leto version. And I couldn't figure out what Kevin was exactly. He was wearing a hat and a black outfit. My first thought was he reminded me of the character in V is for Vendetta, the guy with the mask. And so I noticed early on that Nick did not stay too long at the party. He was, I think, after an hour or barely an hour, he went back to his cabin early, which kind of it disappointed me because then I didn't have a chance to see if I could get a selfie with him. And then as the night wore on, it looked apparent that the other boys too were not going to go out into the crowd and take selfie lines. So then I thought it would be a repeat of the first deck party where none of them were going to go out to take any selfies like they had done on the previous cruises. So, towards, I think it was maybe around 2, 3 a.m., me and my friends, we then decide to give up and just go to the Lido deck and have a late night meal. I was actually surprised to see that the buffet was open and serving breakfast food. I was very excited to see that they were serving hash browns, or I guess tater tots. Anyway, something fried and potato. I was very excited to see that. So I helped myself to a lot of hash browns. And so we sat in the Lido dining room for a while and then we decide to then walk back to our cabins. And as we are walking back to our cabins, I see that on deck 11 there are flashes going off and that there are a lot of fans still up there. So I had a feeling that a Backstreet Boy was still up there and that it was Kevin. And so we go towards where the action is and we see that Kevin is taking selfies with those waiting. So we decide why not? Let's do it. So it was me, Jamie, Bonnie, and Jen. We basically immerse ourselves into the crowd and just inch forward. And so finally we get to the front of the little barricade. And Kevin goes to Jamie first and they take their selfies. And then Bonnie goes next. And then it was my turn. So I hand Kevin my phone, and I had recently got a new to me phone. It's a pre-owned iPhone 7 Plus, and I had bought a selfie ring light to help give light because I knew that it's happened to me before where I have the opportunity to take a selfie with a Backstreet Boy, but there is no lighting at all. So I am happy that there is this invention called a selfie ring light. And so I hand Kevin my phone with the selfie ring attached, and we take 2 selfies. And then he says to me, "Oh, I've seen this setup before." And I'm like thinking, "What are you talking about?" And I tell him, "No, no, no, this is new." And then he says, "But you had this at an after party in Vegas." And I'm like, "No, this is new." And then he's like, "You mean to tell me that I've never seen this before?" And I'm like, "No." And I am just so caught off guard that he is questioning my my phone and my selfie light and saying that he's seen it before when he hasn't. And it doesn't hit me until maybe 5 minutes later when I am already all done with my selfies what he was talking about. So I have this point and shoot camera that is a Sony camera that I bought in I bought it in 2014 for the 2014 cruise. And the reason I bought it is because it has a great optical zoom and that it has a selfie monitor so that if you flip the LCD screen up, then you can essentially take a selfie. And I remember this happened actually March 4th, 2017, when I brought that camera to Las Vegas and took a selfie with Kevin. And I remember he said that my camera was really good, and and I didn't realize that that was the camera he was talking about at the deck party until it was too late to go back and explain. But I was really happy that I got a selfie with Kevin that night and that he was actually taking his time to make sure all the fans that were waiting out for him that night got a picture. And so after we get our selfies with Kevin, me and my friends, we then go to the casino and just hang out for a bit and reflect on our day. And I think it was probably close to 5 a.m. by the time we get back to our cabin and go to sleep. We barely get any sleep before we have to wake up for day 3, which is our port day in Nassau, Bahamas. So I will go ahead and wrap it up here. And then in the next episode, talk about my time in Nassau, Bahamas, and the very, very good concert that happened that night, and then the most awesome deck party ever, the Millennium Night. So, thanks again for listening, and hope you will come back and listen for more.